People.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, Andy. Happy week 6. Hope your week's going better than the Miami Dolphins, who look to be heading into a very pivotal game to save their season with Skylar Thompson as QB1. How's everything going for you, man?
Yeah, better than that. I don't know. It's a nice, crisp fall here. I know I'm not on the Oregon coast like some, but it's been lovely here. We are going to get that dog, but apparently I have to wait a couple weeks, which is, honestly, I feel like a child. I have to wait. You have to wean it off its mother, and it's a puppy. We got to take it to the vet yet and get shots. But so don't get it. And also, and I've mentioned this before, Disneyland World, Euro Disney, anything Disney, honestly, on a theme park. Just don't like waiting in line. I'm not going to pay that amount of money to wait in line. Even with Fast Pass, it sucks ass. So family, I'm sending them to Disney World or whatever one's in Florida, and I'm not going with.
Oh, wow. You get a vacation from your family?
So I get the
Andy
home
versus
alone
family time.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And it sucks. Hopefully it's like maybe we have a little bit of a late, it warms up a little, get to do some hammock time, but I'm just going to read in silence without children bugging me. I'm going to cook food I like. And oh, my God, it's going to be awesome.
Lean into the Tom Brady and get a little plastic surgery and some haircuts.
Yeah, all of a sudden my cheekbones will be like jutting out like goddamn horns.
I love it, man. All right.
Either way, I'm pumped. I have some positions already. I didn't.
Oh, you do?
I didn't think
I'm going to be riding your positions then.
I think we're going to talk you into a couple of spots. I think that you would have liked or will like, but let's just fire up into it. Thanks for everyone joining us in the chat. I'll remind you a couple times. Hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. And we'll start with, my God, fucking Commanders-Bears game. I forgot this is just going to, all this excitement. Look at that. Look at this. The shower fart graphic is on screen. The shower
fart graphic.
Oh, my God. Is this a sneaky over? That's what everyone's asking themselves.
Yeah, I think so. Right?
So, there is a case to be made for teams don't mind throwing at the Commanders' corners, going over the top a little. The Bears just don't throw the ball. That's what worries me. It's like, will they try to take advantage of this at all, or will it just be, hey, we're going to throw the ball the least amount of times humanly possible all year long and just lean on, our running backs and our running quarterback. But I don't have a lot of strong takes on either of these teams. The Commanders still have less than wowed me. And granted, like the Dallas game, that was a bad matchup. Like that was a bad, hey, we're gonna face a nasty pass rush and we're not gonna be able to do a whole lot against this run game. So I get losing there, but this is like a winnable game for both teams. If either one of these teams wants to salvage the season at this point, this is kind of loser goes home. And I will be 100% cheering for the Commanders. I have Bears season win total unders.
Oh yeah, same. And same. I think Wentz is on the hot seat, would you say?
Yeah, not only that, he was on the injury report a little. And then, when pressed into, I believe the exact quote, I don't know, but the quote was something along the lines of, why are all the other teams in the division doing so well and you're not, Ron Rivera? And he just said quarterback, which is, so I don't know if that creates some sort of schism. We haven't used the schism word in a while. When was the last time we were schisming? Was it the Giants during one of their old coaches?
There was definitely some schisming. There was definitely some there was some schisming there. There's some schisming in Washington.
You can't say something like that about your starting quarterback and then expect everything to be cool. So Who knows what's going on
Especially
there.
not a guy who you've been together with for 4 games or 5 games, excuse me. These guys haven't been to war together for very long.
Mickey Hill hitting it here. Tool circa 1999. Yeah, that was kind of a jam.
Oh, that was a great one. All right. Well, I think this is an over or pass. It's a Commanders or pass. This is definitely a sneaky over game where people are like entertained by the silliness, even if it's not that good. Neither of these defenses are as good as their record would, their stats would suggest. There should be some points here, but I don't have a lot of other takes on this one. Let's keep moving.
Like when you say, hey, there could be some shenanigans or whatnot, like, hey, maybe a pick six, a defensive touchdown,
fumble six for both teams,
or even just a turnover that leads to really good field position or a broken play or two. That's not the kind of stuff that's predictable unless we can sit and look at, maybe some real advanced stats, and we don't have big sample sizes on either of these teams. Not going to play it. Link Calhoun says 5-1 DFS builds for this one. I get down with that. I don't know which team he's deciding to go. Probably both.
I think probably Commanders. You do, and you do both. You do both. You do one where you have both defenses, and one of the defenses is captain too. Probably right.
You could. I do both versions of that. Like where it's like, hey, oh my God, this defense had like 3 picks and a touchdown.
That was the one that Lou won with last week. Jaguar Lou won with last week when there was no touchdown scored. He won the Millie. So, all right. Well, let's talk about Sunday's game. Let's start with the Bucs at the Steelers. This is an interesting one because Tampa Bay's offense has shown you nothing to warrant any type of road favorite status of over 2 scores here. That said, they've taken money. As limits went up, this got bet from 8 to 9 at Chris. The total has been bet up as well from 42 to 44. Don't get that. This looks like a under spot if I've ever seen one, because I think the Buccaneers can hold the Steelers to 3 points, not unlike the Bills did.
Of course, doesn't it sort of feel like the opening game of the was that the Sunday night game, week 1, the Cowboys Tampa Bay game?
Yes, it was.
Where it's like, oh no, this offense just doesn't have much going on because there's been some injuries to the wide receiver. Dak, I will say Dak is better than Kenny Pickett. He's healthy.
Yes.
So you have a better quarterback. The Dallas defense right now is better than it was in week 1. Like they've progressed. I will see how Mike is doing. That's important, but like that was a defense that held the Bucs to a fair low amount, and then the Bucs just kind of cruised. I think they probably could have scored some more there in the second half of that game, but it feels like the same kind of game plan where it's, last week we saw a team that's just gonna baby girl put it on me. Like, hey, if you're gonna let us, we're just gonna score 40 points.
Did they even get they didn't even hit the over in that game, did they? Because it was 38-3.
Yeah, it was 38-3.
41 points was definitely under.
Yeah, that's but I mean, it opened the door to, oh shit, garbage points can take this over. We didn't get them. I don't think this is a better defense. Like Tampa Bay is a better defense.
Healthier for sure.
Healthier defense. Well, especially in the current iteration with what Buffalo's been dealing with some injuries.
Oh God, that defense against a rookie quarterback. Whew. I get the move on Tampa, but I don't get any move to the over here. This looks like an under, and in fact it's at 44. I'm going to probably play it.
Yeah, I'm fully. I don't understand the love in the market for Buccaneers at a big number 2 weeks in a row. Mm-hmm. I guess maybe this one makes a little more sense. It's not like this offense has been squirrely yet. And it is an opportunity. We talked about this in the last game. This is a spot where here's a quarterback who, during his very young career, is very willing to throw interceptable balls all over the damn field. I do worry about that a little if he sets, Tampa might be cruise control. Let's just run the ball, take it easy. But if they're giving the ball at the 10-yard line, things are going to get bad. I think that, I thought we'd see over money on this, honestly.
Well, you have. It was 42
sure.
2 days ago. Same limits. Anyway, The Tampa money's probably martingaling. The third week in a row, Tampa's been bet pretty aggressively. Well, somebody's going to get paid on Tampa and then move off of them in the long last.
There's a good point by half. If you want to bet Tampa, I'd almost rather have that team total over than the spread.
Okay,
I like that. That's not crazy. I'm hoping Tampa plays well. I don't really have a strong take on this game. And the Steelers are
they're really, really bad, but they're trying hard.
I do have this in a teaser. I will say, like, it's a road favorite, which you're not supposed to love as much as I do, but like Tampa fucking this up seems just so unlikely because their defense is so strong. They don't have to score a lot of points to cover this teaser. Like, I don't want to be laying 8.5, but
we'll circle back on secret pod play Steelers team total under at the end of this one.
I do have the Buccaneers in a teaser here. So it's a long spot. I know those have been kind of rough this year, but that is with the injuries to, obviously Watt out and then injuries to Minka and then other parts of the front seven. This defense is probably middle of the pack or worse. So I think Buccaneers just go down, get their 14, 17, 20 points, and then stomp on the brakes with Lenny, and playoff Lenny takes them home. And this is an ugly, this could be just an ugly 24-3 game. Hopefully it's an easy one. So teasers, they're coming back. Don't worry, guys. And we're on to Cincinnati, which is being played in New Orleans.
I like it, man. So this one's interesting. We saw at a pick'em on the open. It's been bet up to 2.5, and then there was a little bit of buyback on New Orleans to 2. Total's been bouncing 2-way. People took the 44.5 under, and it's just been kind of fluctuating there around 43 and 44. Do you know who the New Orleans quarterback is going to be for this game?
I think it's still just trending Andy with Taysom hanging out, but like there's been a lot of uncertainty, and then they just throw out news, and people are like getting way too excited about some of this news where it's like, oh, Tua's at practice. Like, motherfucking Tua is not playing, guys. It might not even be Teddy. We're gonna find out, but Winston did practice. A lot of Saints did not. Like, he was on the practice field today, so maybe, and that's, I don't know, maybe that's why we saw some action here. I don't know if it makes a huge difference if he's still kind of dinged up. Like I said, I had this inkling before he actually went out that like his injuries were, the back injury was hurting him more than we thought, and it was affecting his throws. So like, if Jameis is in, I think I like the Saints less than with a perfectly fine backup right now who's playing within the system. And if they're going to just use Taysom Hill as this ridiculous weapon out in space, because he's a huge friggin' dude. Like, if you have him and Kamara and you start to get some of these healthy, it's going to be a fun offense. They have a semi-shutdown corner. This team can beat a lot of good teams. Just right now, I'm not betting into this game, not understanding what they're going to be doing at quarterback, and then with several other players missing practice on a Wednesday, Michael Thomas being one of them. So it's the injury report was kind of dire for a couple of teams today. Keeping up with this has been a pain all season, but it did sound like, he actually did go out there and practice, and he was playing through pain. But there's ways to mitigate that with needles and drugs that are fully, not like cheating. Like, that shit's fully legal. You can do whatever you want. Toradol's fine, but that's there's a lot of injury uncertainty. If, like, let's say everyone is healthy for this offense, I don't know. What do you think of the Saints pass rush? Because that's the real bugaboo. It's almost as simple as that with the Bengals. Like, hey, here's the Bengals. If it's a nasty pass rush, Burrow's going to have issues. If it's not, then they're probably going to be able to get the offense moving. And I don't have New Orleans as a very good pass rush this year, so probably a stay away for me on this one.
Yeah, and I think for what it's worth, the Bengals' offensive line is looking a little more cohesive. They're playing a little bit better. Nothing major that scares me off of
Dalton
back of the
revenge
Bengals
game.
in this spot. Dalton revenge game. Yeah.
And this is a good point too. Saints teaser leg, home, dog, lowish total. I don't hate it, but
I just don't have a good read on the Saints and who they are right now.
I don't. And if their pass rush is like, if you go I've looked at a couple different metrics, and if you just simplify it and look at where PFF ranks them, and they have them 25th ranked pass rush. They have this defense overall 14th. Like they do have decent coverage, obviously. So it's, I don't know. If you can't get after Burrow, I'm not super excited about backing this team even at home. Don't mind it as a teaser leg. Don't have a strong feel in this total at all.
I would not take them on the teaser
Saints
leg
are like
just
the last.
because I wouldn't take them on the teaser league just because of the cornerback injuries for New Orleans. Right now, we're seeing questionable for both Lattimore and Paulson Adebo. They're going to need both those guys healthy and strong in order to defend the passing attack of the Bengals, I think. So if the Saints just no-show because of exhaustion and injury, then this could be one-way traffic Bengals.
A good quote from our guy Shane Spellman. I've never put him on the screen before, I don't think. Heard PFF talking about New Orleans prone to explosive plays. I guess that makes sense if you don't have, if you don't have a good pass rush, you're going to get beat over the top. It works as one kind of well-oiled machine when a pass rush can help out coverage and coverage can help out pass rush. So he says seems to be a big advantage, Cincy, especially with a weak pass rush. Yeah, I do worry about that. Like if this defense is injured and playing poorly, that teaser leg could go up in flames if the Bengals offense is doing what it did last year. Higgins held out of practice, I think. Yeah. I worry that he doesn't play. So,
yeah, that really does throw a wrinkle in betting this one. Pass. Let's keep moving. Jags Indy.
Oh, yeah. Here's two more teams we have really good reads on.
Rematch.
There is something to this, though. Like, and again, it's been through 3 or 4 different coaches for the Jaguars, but the Colts have really struggled with the Jaguars historically for reasons unknown. I don't know. They got shut out 24-0. This is weird to have a rematch so soon.
It's usually in Jacksonville that they suck, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of the games, though. And yes, this one is at home. And they're another one, too. It's been Leonard in and out. I don't think Leonard plays. I think that's important.
How about JT?
I'm not super psyched for him to play. I don't know. I didn't have a strong upset. Maybe somebody has a Jonathan Taylor update, but
I think this is Jags or pass, and I know I'm a Jags.
I've had too many Jags games this year.
Yeah, a Jags stan through and through. So this has been a weird stretch for them, sitting in that 2-3, and I grade them as by far the best team in this division. Yet they're a game behind the Titans, and this is all of a sudden like sort of a do or die game for them to win the AFC South and go to the playoffs this year. So I basically already have a bet on the Jags. Interesting market because the Colts were. What was the Colts price on the road week 2? They were favorites, right?
Yeah, they were favored in that game.
They closed. That one was funny because they were 4-point favorites on the open. A bunch of guys all of a sudden decided that they weren't playing, including Pittman, and it flipped across 3, which was a big-ass move that early in the season. Jags comfortable win the whole time. This one's interesting that basically going back the other way and saying that the Jaguars are the better team by a little.
Yeah, and probably another good teaser leg if you like a home. Oof.
Extra rest for the Colts.
Extra rest, but man, Matt Ryan really does seem lost. Like, not just he's slow. It's like no, he's making bad reads. He's making bad decisions, and he's had a bunch of injuries around him. So everything's kind of gone poorly for what they had hoped to be an improved offense this year. Like
the frisky pass rush, Josh Allen maybe gets after him. Yeah, this is Jags, I think, is the side.
Yeah, I'm scared of teasing all these short home dogs.
I basically already have a Jags bet with all my Jags future money out there, so I'm going to pass on this one. No opinion on this total.
Holt
41.5
says,
looks
I
low,
lose sleep at night knowing the Titans are leading the division. Yeah.
but
It's
it's
not a
pretty
good
fucking
team.
gross.
It's
Yeah.
it's a really, really bad division right now. New England at Cleveland. Here's one I bet Sunday. And honestly, I would still bet this over.
Okay.
I looked again. I'm terrible at the weather. I looked and looked and looked. You're never gonna have like, oh, it's 60 with not even a little bit of a breeze. Like this is on the goddamn lake, not even one of the good Great Lakes. It's like the worst Great Lake. So I mean, you're always going to have wind coming off the lake. The stadium's right there. You're getting that crosswind sometimes. It's never going to be perfect weather in Cleveland. I guess it was nice the one time I went there. I went to a baseball game, but there's always going to be some wind in the stadium. So, I get that. But at the same time, I don't know how the wind is going to affect Ramondre Stevenson's running. Like if it's a little
not
breezy,
going to.
I think he's going to be fine. It's been highly efficient running the ball for the Browns, and then they have not been able to stop anyone who's been handed the ball in the backfield or pitched the ball or shoveled the ball. If someone's running at them, they've been very bad at closing. They've been bad at like tackling. They've been bad at taking the angle. Just like all the things you can do to stop a ball carrier. Like I have them as one of the worst run defenses in the league right now, and we saw that last week where there was 450 yards rushing in that game.
Yeah,
and truthfully, it's kind of the same thing. This is second verse, same as the first. The Patriots' rush defense is not all that great. It is certainly better than the Chargers. I don't know if we get to 450, but we can get to 350 combined between Chubb, Hunt, Ramondre, and whatever else we throw at them. And the red zone efficiencies. Yeah, the red zone efficiency. I think he's banged up. No, that's Williams.
Harris is questionable. You're right. Jacoby Myers is questionable. Aguilar is questionable. Mac Jones is questionable. I don't think he goes. This is the Bailey Zapp show for the time being.
They're arguing about which is the best Great Lake in the chat, and Al Cervic has it. It's clearly
superior.
Yeah,
superior. Name, right? Obviously, it's in the name. Cleveland's entire D-line is on the injury report. Denzel Ward as well. Both. I mean, this is, like you said, this is all things, running, all green light in the running game for both teams. That should have balanced success and plenty of points. So, yeah, over 43.5. I agree with you.
Here's a fun hypothetical. Let's say Deshaun Watson practices with the team all summer, plays half of game 2 in the preseason, takes the snaps with the ones through all of camp and plays. Are they 5-0? They haven't really played, especially just
for sure.
Like I think Dan Kelly's right here. I think they might be 5-0.
Their defense was more the problem in the games they lost.
I know, but it's still like the offense takes on it probably a different level at that point, and they're able to keep pace with that shitty defense. They might have some games that land in the 70s, but they're 4-1.
You know who that team would really remind me a lot of? Like the 2019 Texans. Like it would be the same sort of shit. They're playing games into the 40s, and Watson's probably winning a lot of those. Interesting market moving off of 3. So there is some support for the Pats. People
I get that.
Fired up about that team after what they did last week, which was really impressive. Tough to do that back-to-back weeks, though. Let's move on.
Nasty travel swap, but yeah, I'd bet this over up to 44. I'm on over 42. I'm on over 42.5. I'm willing to add more, honestly. I like this one. It's probably my favorite bet on the board. So
I'm with you.
And truthfully,
there
was weird movement to the under on the Browns last week, which was not rewarded in the least. So I was surprised there was not resistance this week, honestly.
Yep. Jets Packers is the Packers play a dog shit team from New York for the second week in a row. Are they going to lose again? This time they're actually at home instead of home away from home. What is the market telling us about this game? The fact that the Packers, had no real support last week and then lost outright, and then you're seeing this come off of 7.5 to a flat 7 today with limits up is noteworthy, I think. Jets backers are out there. It's taking value with bets with this team still. The Packers defense is extremely fraudulent, apparently. But this has been
we
bet
know
under. Whoa, this is down from 46.5 to 45.
We know like defense can be less than sticky at certain points. Like, that happens where, hey, this is, they were good last year, but they're not getting the bounces there this way. And, some of these guys are aging out, especially the speed positions at the corners. And sometimes it just happens where a defense is suddenly way worse. And the Packers right now, like the two biggest downgrades I think I've done this year are the Packers defense and the Rams offense.
Yes, those are good ones.
Like, those are just instant. How far can I have this team falling from my priors? And you have to be willing to. But right now, the Packers aren't a bottom 5 defense, but fucking A, they're knocking at the door. And the Jets have found some rookies who can play. Let's see, Breece Hall's going to have big yardage like that if he's super wide open on some of those passes again. But maybe it might be an easier test for them. I'm not saying they win again. This is a tough place to go play, but the Packers doing the same thing as we saw last week, opting not to take the bye week, the early bye off the London game. So they're coming off a weird travel spot and just losing in a game they were kind of in control of to start with. Couldn't do anything on offense in the second half. I don't know if just like Rodgers is just not as good as he once was, or it's just a lot harder when you don't have the receivers you need. He's quickly started to go away, and Watson's hurt now, so he's not. I don't think he might not even play. But
that doesn't matter to the lineup.
Yeah, it doesn't. He's just started to cycle away from the young guys anyway. Where it was like, oh shit, like over half the targets were Lazard and Cobb all of a sudden. So
if he can't, the fact that he couldn't get it going against that Giants defense was really bad. Man, if he can't do it against the Jets now, then this team is really, really in a tough spot. I got to just watch these games. I don't have a good read that the Jets are a bet on team yet, but the market thinks they are.
Yeah.
Interesting two-way action on this total.
Yeah, I took some over. So I did take some over here because I do believe the Jets offense has been efficient enough now that they've figured out, how they're using Hall, they have some good receivers. Sometimes a good receiving core can make a quarterback who's probably not going to make it long-term in the league as like a high-end quarterback, can make him look decent. I think this Jets offense is kind of fun. And the Packers at home in a deficit, that's a beautiful game script to get me to like 50 points in this one. If the Jets can attack what I believe, and I think we all believe, to be a shitty defense and score 21, 24 points, do you really think we see what we saw in the second half again, where the Packers just can't do anything?
The last Jets Packers game went to overtime like 44-44. You remember that game? That was a crazy one.
It's as Patrick said, the Jets have a bet on offense. I like the +7. I just like the over a little more. So I have some over, and I don't even think I have the best number. I have an over 46. Is it seriously down to 45.5? I'm going to check what Chris has
45, but it's juiced to -115 right now.
Jesus, yeah, this is getting bet hard the opposite way, which
two-way, pretty aggressive two-way here.
Whatever, I'm on this over. I really do think we get a game script where the Jets are aggressive and score some points early and forces this Packers offense to get moving. So I like this over.
All right, sorry. The last one went to overtime 38-38. Packers won 44-38.
Yeah, 44-44 is ridiculous.
They won 44-38.
That would have been
that was in 2018. You want to guess who the quarterbacks were in that one? Aaron Rodgers went for 442, 2 touchdowns, ran for 2.
Fitzmagic?
Sam Darnold. 341 for 3 touchdowns in that game for Sammy D. All right. Let's move on. Ravens. I like your overlook. Ravens, Giants. You've seen an interesting line open here from 3 out to 5.5 for Baltimore. Now, it was a juicy 3 on the open, and that lasted no time at all until it was 3.5. But then beyond to blow by 4 and 4.5 all the way to 5.5 is pretty interesting. That would almost indicate to me that Daniel Jones is not right and someone knows. What is your read on that big of a move for this game?
Yeah, that kind of checks out. There's some injuries here that are keeping me away from this game. I don't know what you think of this Giants offense, but I certainly don't think, defense. I certainly don't think it's a defense that is going to repeatedly stop an Aaron Rodgers-led offense for an entire half of football. That was odd because I don't have them graded out well. They're starting to get some pieces together. It could be a middle of the pack off defense, but I have it below average right now. And if Dobbins looks good. So right away coming back, he looks good. I guess if I'm a Ravens backer, if I'm someone who is just a Ravens fan, I'm happy that Dobbins took those first couple weeks off and got fully healthy. So he's got bursts, he's got pop right now. Lamar, a little rough at the end of the game, made some bad decisions, but over the course of the season, he's been great. I think this Giants defense kind of gets scorched. There's a decent amount of games where the Ravens come in here and just run the ball at will and really put this one to bed early.
Yeah, I think that is very much possible. So one thing I'll piggyback on your point there. The Giants are missing a bunch of they're thin defensively as it is, and they could be without Leonard Williams, Adoree Jackson, and Azeez Ojulari. Like those are kind of their 3 best defensive players. They're only 3 good defensive players. So that may be what's driving this more than Daniel Jones itself. Sack Barkley also questionable. He's going to be limited, but it's a shoulder. He probably goes. There's still no wide receivers available for the Giants. Yet this got bet up from 44.5 to 45. I agree with you. I think Baltimore first half might be a look. What do you think of that?
I kind of like that. I think you could probably get like a 3.
Yeah.
And yeah, here's a good point where people are talking about flying back from the London game. This is a real small sample size, but those 2 games had 51 and 71 points scored in them. The Saints defense didn't look like they were willing to do much of anything against Geno. Vikes defense gave up 22 to the Bears. A lot of it in the second half. So maybe maybe I'm even more worried about this Giants defense.
Alt overs in the Green Bay and the Giants game. Is that what you're getting at?
I might
just
be
parlay a couple alt overs.
I'm gonna go back and look at this.
Over 47? Over 47?
Remember what I did with the Eagles last week? What if we did that again, where it was some people made a case for first half Ravens. I'm trying to find them now. Jesus. I can't read when they put it all like this so close together. I must have to just control F this shit. First half team total over. What do you think we have for that?
For the Ravens?
Yeah.
13.5?
First quarter? I don't want that.
Oh,
God. They did 12.5, 135. I don't want that. I don't want that. But
no.
Maybe I'm going to keep looking around. I think I will be backing the Ravens early like that. I'm nothing yet, though.
Okay. All right. Ravens or pass, over or pass for me there.
Maybe, yeah, this is maybe a parlay. Jets and Ravens team total over parlay. The fade London.
Ooh, fade
London
the London
calling
angle.
King George III parlay.
That'll be a fun little secret pod play. I like
I've never
it.
done a parlay before.
Do you need to read an ad, or can we move on to Vikings Dolphins?
I got
We're
nobody. Today it's brought to you by King Venom vape cartridges.
I love it.
We don't make them. We don't make the juice. We are not liable.
Vikings at the Dolphins is a tough one. This was going to be one of the better games of the week when we thought it was going to be Teddy or Tua. It is not, and it is going to stink. Vikings are out to 3.5, although the likelihood that they win by 3 and break the hearts of anyone who lays 3.5 seems very live to me. Vikings continue to win and not cover is going to be one of my favorite side plots to follow all for first 3 quarters of the season.
Vikings are 9-2, 3-8 against the spread.
Yeah, I think you spoke that into existence last week, and it is going to come to pass. It is going to come to pass. Total down 45. I mean, Skylar Thompson looked real bad. He was doing a lot of one-dimensional offensive stuff. I don't know how they get to the deeper part of the playbook. You know what?
Now you have a team that's going to prep for him.
And now you have a team that's going to prep for him. And, oh, by the way, the Dolphins don't get to play ping pong anymore. When that story came across the wire that the captains took the ping pong table out of the locker room, the funny, like crazy first reaction was literally, are they getting concussions playing ping pong? Like, what? Why would they get rid of the ping pong table? And it's literally so they can focus on prep more. Like the prep has anything to do with this. Like your quarterbacks are concussed and out of games. Like that's the problem, guys. What is your read on your hometown Vikings in this particular spot?
This is another one. Like, I don't know where you had them. I don't know where you had Miami to start the season, but I had higher hopes for this defense.
By a lot, I did. And I even held on to that through them getting, they went through the gauntlet of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter.
I've seen some bad play by this defense. I have them below average, not by a ton, but I had hoped to have them a lot higher than there. They're another one I've had to downgrade quite a bit. Then they said, I think we actually got a decent amount of clarity today. There's just no chance Tua is playing. He joined the team today. He's going to throw the ball a little, but he's not ready. And then they said Teddy, if he clears concussion protocol, will be on the team, but he'll be dressed as the backup. Like they pretty much just said it's Skylar. So
it's Skylar 10.
And that's where you did see the move. It was a reasonable 3 this morning, and now it is moving pretty healthy. There's a case to be made for Dolphins. There's a case to be made for Dolphins live. The Vikings have not been great about closing games they're ahead in, and they have not been the comeback games against the Bears and Lions, like, are the Vikings actually good? I know we already kind of alluded to that with the ATS thing, but the Packers game was, hey, we don't have any wide receivers yet, so this is going to be fun to try to win a game like this. Vikings got out to a nice little lead, didn't do shit after that, had to come back versus the Lions, had to come back versus the Bears, probably didn't deserve to beat the Saints. Like this Viking, and then, predictable, got the shit kicked out of him pretty much by Philly, who's a good team. So this Vikings team is not some high-end team. This very fraudulent record. We could probably get another one. And it's not a team I'm laying 3.5 on the road with, even against a rookie quarterback. This is I think we still can say that McDaniel is a smart head coach. He has a lot more time to prep for bringing in a kid like this. And I think there might be some wrinkles, because you still have Tyreek Hill and Waddle. Like, if you can mitigate the damage that having to start a 7th-round rookie like this can do by really, really quickly taking the ball and giving it to Tyreek Hill in an easy-to-execute way for Skylar Thompson, Dolphins offense might eat up Minnesota a little. The Minnesota defense hasn't been impressive either.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty rough.
Yeah. There's a decent chance if this keeps going, I might have Miami +4. And congrats to anyone who grabbed like Minnesota -1. That was good. It was a really good grab.
Good grab.
Armstead, that's another part of this too. We got to see a few more. Tyreek, I was worried about until today's report. Armstead, we need some clarity on. And then it is weird. I've seen this. We've seen this though, where it's like if he can back up, why can't he start? I don't know. It's one of those things. So
it's a complicated situation.
And honestly, if Teddy dresses like that, and Patrick's saying the same thing, are we 100% sure Teddy isn't going to end up starting? If you have a +4 and then all of a sudden game day comes and they're like, you know what, motherfucker's feeling good. He's looking good. Glassy eyes are gone. He's concussion free. We're just going to start Teddy. you're going to feel pretty good about having a 4 because that'll drop to 2.
They're not going to play him.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Teron Armstead question matters. Austin Jackson went on injured reserve Friday, although he's been hurt since September 16th. Xavier Howard, questionable, but he's going to play through a groin injury. Not that he was going to be able to defend Justin Jefferson anyway. Raheem Mostert, kind of the bell cow now. He didn't practice because of a knee. The Dolphins are.
I think Mostert was just like a maintenance on that knee kind of thing. I think he's going to be fine. He looks very good.
All right. Well, I'm going to stay away from that game. Don't need to get involved at this point.
And Randy has a good point too. Like, Teddy. If Teddy doesn't take first team reps all week, and then they have him play anyway, maybe it sucks to kind of start him. Where you might be actually happier with Skyler.
I also don't think they're ready to rush back a quarterback for the second time in the season and see him get popped again. Like that's they're not ready for that.
Bad optics
and a lot of things. San Francisco's at the Falcons. Did we get confirmation that the Niners are at the Greenbrier, by the way?
Yeah, they stayed east, which should help. Manny Machado just hit a bomb. Go Padres.
Oh.
I'm kind of pulling for the Padres. Yep, San Francisco stayed out east as honestly, there's no excuse for anyone anymore if you're a team on either coast and you have 2 straight games on the other coast. I mean, you have the schedule well ahead of time. You don't need to use Hotel Tonight. This episode brought to you by Hotel Tonight. Download in the App Store now to find a place like that. Like you can plan well ahead of time, and the Niners have their little pad on the East Coast. They have their love nest here. So I like that they're doing that. At the same time, we talked about this. What did this line close at with Carolina last week? 6?
Yeah. And that's where we're at now.
Where would you have Carolina? Where would you have Carolina and Atlanta if they played each other on a neutral? What would you make that number
this week, the week after they fired their coach? I'd probably make Carolina 2.5.3 favorites. But in a normal week, I would make Atlanta 2.5, 3-point favorites.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were saying. When we alluded to this a little Sunday, we said, why would the Niners be 5.5, 6-point favorites against Carolina? And then again, same road game, same amount of spread against a team that's probably 2 or 3 points better. And adding to that, they've lost 2 pieces of a secondary. They had one massive piece off their pass rush and Joey Bosa gone. By the Joey Bosa I've ever seen.
Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa, Armstead, Kinlaw, Jimmy
and Kinlaw didn't practice.
Emmanuel Mosley, Samson Ebukam,
everyone. 5 or 6 major pieces. I bet this at +6, +15, +6, -115. It moved a penny, but this is a price I had to take because it doesn't make a lot of sense. I love the Niners. I think they're very good, but this is a price play. It doesn't make sense based off last week's market. I know they beat the shit out of Carolina, but that was a team that was probably quitting at that point because their coach was 1 foot out and Baker sucks.
They have cluster injuries at cornerback and offensive line. And now D-line. 3 cluster injuries on this team.
Who would have thought it could happen to the Niners?
San Francisco.
4 straight years.
Amazing. Do you like the over 44 in that game?
I think it's pretty much on.
Okay. Because Falcons defense can still be gashed, but their offense is plucky. They're plucky little turkeys against a defense with no pass rush and no cornerbacks.
Yeah, both teams are going to not be able to pass rush. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I guess I'd lean that way. I like the side a little better.
All right, I'm going to think about this.
I'm betting on Falcons points. Defensive player of the year. Somebody just brought this up in the chat because of all the injuries. Obviously TJ Watt.
I don't want to mention it and have someone else get hurt.
Yeah, I know. Micah Parsons is your chalk right now. But
don't make him get hurt. Oh, is
But
he?
he's already hurt. He's dealing with a groin injury. If that gets worse and he misses time, I mean, Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, Rashawn Gary, Max Crosby.
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby's 28-1 right now. I don't hate that for a little punt.
Crosby's not crazy.
Somebody made a case in a DM to me for Matthew Judon, just based on like counting stats. He's kind of getting them. And if he ends up with, 18 sacks and a bunch of other people are injured, that's kind of a sneaky look. He's a bigger number, but I like Max Crosby quite a bit. Especially if you can find something better than 30. Right now, I'm seeing a 28 at Bovada. I just have one book open, but sneaky look there. It's maybe time to start adding some of those as people are getting injured.
Max Crosby's got 6 sacks so far this year. He's not really going to threaten the record, I don't think, but he is pretty awesome to watch. He's forced 1 fumble, 1 pass defense. His tackles are good.
And
his pressures look good.
Was good on primetime. Like he was when he did that. The one play that stuck out in a very fun game was where he shucked the guy to the right and then came back and re-shucked him to the left and just came over the top like an animal. And he is an animal. He's scary.
Okay.
Chandler does look a little washed too. It would help him if Chandler could contribute. So
do
they'd
anything.
Have to maybe double him.
Just do anything. Crosby's not getting nearly as many pressures as the likes of Judon. Weirdly, is getting a lot of pressures. Maybe he is live. Hendrickson might be live. He's getting a shitload of pressure. I don't know, man. Judon looks like an interesting call to keep an eye on.
There's a 75-1 on Judon right now. Like that's not a terrible call, just based on the counting stats he already has. Let's head to you where you're not, but normally are. Los Angeles, California, Southern California. SoFi Stadium will host our newest head coach and the Carolina Panthers heading.
Who is the interim head?
I wish I wouldn't have led with that because I can't remember his name.
It's not Matt Gadudu. It's the defensive coordinator. Or the special teams coach? Who do they all?
They got rid of stuff. Steve Wilkes. I was thinking of the bouncer from Jerry.
He was a very bad D coordinator for the Cardinals not that long ago.
You type in bouncer from, the first one that comes up is Roadhouse. Like, how do you not know who the bouncer from Roadhouse is? You guys, why are we googling that? The bouncer from Jerry Springer was what I wanted to know.
Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes had a 1-year shot as head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, and then a 1-year stint as Cleveland's defensive coordinator, and then he got elevated from the secondary coach of the. Oh man, his career is trending in the wrong direction. I mean, usually when a team fires their coach, there's a little bit of a bounce from the players, a little bit of a response, like they get it, they're next. If they suck, they may be looking for work next year. The problem is the quarterback is mostly the problem there, and the offensive system is a huge problem, and neither of those things are going to change. We think Baker probably plays, and I guess, does it really matter?
No. The biggest news out of this whole damn thing has been the Rams are decidedly and decisively dealing with trying to figure out how to get OBJ back on this team right now. Because this offense, like I said when I mentioned the big downgrade, this offense has been a big downgrade. I don't know that he fixes it. A lot of it seems to come down to the coaching, really the play calling, and maybe some of that is on Stafford with, not checking out of these runs. But if you're going to continually to you might as well just kneel on first down if you're going to keep running Cam Akers in the A gap. Like that's a recipe for 2nd and 11. And 3rd and 8, and then let's just double cup because they're going to probably go to him anyway. And now you have to convert these 3rd down and longs with Ben Skoranek. It has been a really, really gross offense. Randy Mitchell's pointing out no home field advantage either. Even with a team from the East Coast, it seems like these LA teams. It is a college town, guys. Hollywood. It's an industry town, but this is one of those where I am grossed out by either side. Like if you gave me the Panthers, I would want 14.5. And if you give me the Rams, I'd want like 6.
7, 6, yeah.
Like I can't make a case for an offense that's been so inept to lay this many points against anyone. And to be fair, the Panthers are my 32nd ranked power ranked team. I just don't have the Rams 8 points better than them, and I'm not sure I could give them 2 points of home field to begin with. Probably more like 1.5. And the Panthers, like, in what world should I be betting the Panthers? And I think Christopher Davis hit on this. Like, if you bet the Panthers, maybe just bet them to win.
I like that.
If you really do like a bounce back, take a little 10.5, but just bet them to win the fucking game.
Yeah, because if it's not going right, they're not covering for you. Right? They're not backdooring this. This is going one way. You know, this is a vacation for these guys if their season's over. No play for me on this one. No interest.
I don't like anything about this.
All right. Tough question for you here about Arizona, Seattle. We're not going to get the 3, I don't think. But I would take it if it showed up. So at this point, get involved at all in this game, or play the money line, or stay away entirely? What's your read on
I don't think
Cards, Seahawks?
I don't think you're getting the 3 either. And is this a case where the market is just not adjusting fast enough to the fact that Geno Smith is effective? He's effective. He kind of does a pretty good job taking care of the ball. Honestly, he's finding a way to make this offense work. We said if they have, woe is the Seahawks. We said they have Drew Lock and Geno Smith. If they only had a good quarterback, they actually have 2 really good wide receivers. So the fact is, like, it was almost like an if then. It's like if Geno can play 25 to 50% better than the baseline that we put him at, why, then maybe that just doubles. Like if he can be a little efficient on his own, that's going to get this huge boost because he has good wide receivers. Like, it just like unlocks a bonus for him. So like, the Seahawks offense deserves a decent upgrade, and the defense still stinks. That's why this total's so high. And that's why I again, in a game where I think there's going to be a shitload of scoring on both sides, I'm not excited about taking 2.5. I would take, if I had to bet this, it'd be Seahawks money line or Seahawks team total over. But I do believe, and I talked to somebody about this, I said, I bet there's a spot here where Arizona's been a little slow starting. Like you said, the plays have looked better in the second half when Kyler's just kind of riffing. So yeah. I think if you wanted to, and this, this could end up horrible. This could end up horrible. This could be like a trading game where, give me Seahawks plus 125, and I bet somewhere in the second quarter, I could take the Seahawks, or I could take the Cardinals plus 140 plus. Lord, no, it could be 14-0, and I could get a big number on this and just trade out and have a nice little, tidy little profit, not watch the rest of the goddamn game.
Yep, so Seattle money line.
Arizona, Seahawks. If I do play anything in this for legit, not like, hey, I'm going to trade this. Seahawks first half money line, which you should probably get. I don't
plus
know, a little better than even money. I know that the side is like Cardinals minus 0.5, so you probably get plus 105, plus 110 if you shop around. I don't hate that. Just a Seahawks first half money line. And then depending on how things look, then just hammering the Cardinals in half.
That's not crazy, man. Because, the Seahawks defense is still a problem. And
also, this my plan where I don't watch any of the game is because I'm watching Bills Chiefs. I don't want to have to watch this game either, despite,
You might get it might bridge the gap between the day games and the night games, though, because they may slide it back to avoid a crossover with the Mariners. If the Mariners are playing the Astros, which I think they will be. I've never
seen something like that. They would start this like a full hour or two later if the Mariners had to play.
Amazing.
So it's weird. I haven't seen baseball fuck with football in a while.
Yeah,
it feels like little brother got dessert first.
All right, let's talk about Bills Chiefs. You had a pretty solid read on the Chiefs. in the Monday Night Football game, taking a little Vegas +7, a little Chiefs -7.5 at halftime. That was nice. Landed right there in the middle. Under 30.5. Lands on 30. Smack on 30. It's a missed field goal.
Everything to go perfect.
Just a missed field goal and some crazy other nonsense and a missed 2-point. Did they miss a 2-point conversion at the end? I think they did.
Both teams did.
Okay. Well, the Bills take on the Chiefs, and this was, I don't remember if we predicted it or not. I think we did. But it's gotten pretty aggressive here in the betting market in favor of the Buffalo Bills. This was a pick 'em on the look ahead, and it opened 3. And I mean, they are willing to write you all the +3 Kansas City Chiefs at all of the big juices to your heart's content for the big old limits. What do you make of this market?
What would your number be? Like, I'm not that far off this. I think Kansas City's a fine team, but I have a fair enough gap to make a 2.5 a pretty fair number here. So, I mean, I don't honestly disagree that much with where we're at. So
neither do I.
Let's give them 2 points for home field. Let's give them a little above average for home field. That means the Bills are 4.5, 5 points better. Like, I get the people that are taking the +3, but at the same time, it feels like a touchdowns game where the 3 might not come into play when both teams have 40-some points. This could turn into an absolute fun shootout. I bet the over. Not only did I bet the over, but I'm also not worried about I got to get 53 or whatever. I bet over 55 at a plus number. I sold up a few points on Bookmaker. Either of these teams gets into a game state where they're behind.
Yeah.
Either of these teams can absolutely attack both of these secondaries. Like, these secondaries are susceptible to what the other teams do. Honestly, the best game state for me is either of these teams gets up by 14 points.
Yeah.
Because it's like a free 14 points from the other team. It's like they are going to catch up, make a game of this. Neither of these teams is going to be able to just, hey, we'll just run the clock out or we'll just run the ball a lot. And it's not that, first of all, it's not in the Bills' DNA as far as their MO from a coaching standpoint. And the Chiefs, if they start running, I feel like they're going to just be gashing. They have 3 kind of decent running backs at this point. So I'm going to bet this over. And by going to, I mean, I already have.
Yeah. A lot of
I don't blame people taking +3 though.
So if the Bills were at full strength on defense, I'm very much a Bills better in this game because I think they have the scheme and the visionary and Frazier to run a plan A, which really does frustrate Mahomes and the Chiefs offense. But right now, everybody's hurt. The entire D line looks like they're carrying injuries. They got 3 cornerbacks on the, with questionable tags on top of Trey White is still unavailable. Both safeties hurt. When they had Hyde and Poyer healthy, they couldn't stop Travis Kelce. So I don't know what the plan is now, with one of those guys.
Is Kelce in form right now?
He is. He is quite in form. I think this should be a pretty fun affair. And first to 40 wins kind of a deal. So your over is a good look. I'm just excited to see these guys. This is right now, Mahomes and Josh Allen are kind of the only fun things going in the NFL. Am I missing anything? It's not really fun to watch the Eagles beat up on shitty teams.
No, Lamar when he's on is fun.
Yeah.
Skylar Thompson's pretty fun. Yeah. Gino.
Actually, you know what? I take it back. Gino's fun. You know what? I bite my tongue. I'm very much enjoying the Baker Mayfield 2022 experience. This has been everything I'd hoped it would be. Ultimately, I'm fired up for this game. Should be great. I hope both guys make it through healthy, and I hope Josh Allen wins because that cements him the MVP, right?
Yeah.
How does Josh Allen lose
that's
this
the
game?
other reason.
How does he win this game and not win the MVP ultimately?
Yeah. He's already a decent-sized favorite. Again, people are big favorites 2 weeks before the season ends and lose it out because of things can happen. But yeah, that's the other part of this. I have enough action on Josh Allen MVP that I have essentially bet Bills money line here.
I think I have too.
So that's where I'm fine, just abstaining from anything there. No touchdown Thursday Night Football was fun. The fact that you poor fuckers had to sweat overtime with those no touchdowns.
Amazing.
And still came out smelling.
So great.
Those. God bless. Sam Lips.
So great.
Some of you guys are absolutely.
Yeah, Sam. Yeah, the MVP favorite ought to be the Deep Dive Discord. Those guys are killing it this year, and
really good discussions in there all the time.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I'm not writing stuff constantly, but I'm always going and reading stuff because I like to read. All right, let's close it out with Dallas Philly. I do want to mention one thing about Monday Night Football before we close out. We have time. I know I got to get back on vacation. We missed a comment too. AD asked, he says, "Are you in my grandmother's bathroom?"
Me?
Yeah, it's like, so is that wainscoting or what is it? Is it tile?
I don't really know.
It's odd how it goes halfway up like a chair rail.
Yeah, it's kind of like beadboard, but it's very ornate. I don't know.
Oh, it's incredibly ornate.
yeah. I don't know. Beats the hell out of me. Right. I don't get it.
Let's go to Dallas Philly. This is a fun one too. I made a case for this last night when I talked to Jimmy the Bag, and I said, "Don't you feel like Dallas is just like playing with zero pressure here? Like all the pressure's on Philly. They've been anointed by the media. They're the last undefeated team. They haven't been, they haven't had a good season really since the Super Bowl run. And they've done a lot. I mean, the turnover at quarterback and coaching since then has been immense. So it's like this is a new regime, this is a new team, almost a new franchise compared to that Super Bowl is not that long ago. But this is a team that's, like I said, they're getting all the love from the media. And Dallas is in this weird spot where, like, if you'd have told them they'd be sitting here, let's say the Philly game is over and they've lost it. And they tell you, like, hey, you guys went like 4-1 with Cooper Rush. And then Dak came back. A fucking Jerry, Steven, all the Cowboys fans, Skip, they're all shaking hands on that. Like, can you imagine going, like, when we went into this, we're like, oh shit, Dak's gonna be missing for a good chunk of the season. Like, this is a big problem. But if they come out of this and it sounds like Dak is throwing the ball and he's throwing it and his grip is okay, whereas he might be back next week even. If you are 4-2 at the end of this stretch where Cooper Rush had to play these games, I feel like you're just absolutely tickled by that.
Of course.
So at the same time, like, sometimes teams that don't have any pressure like that play well. It's not like I'm not trying to say, hey, they're just going to punt this game because they've already gotten so many wins in a spot where they were in a rough spot. But it feels like a no pressure game for the Cowboys and all the pressure for the Eagles. And if Micah's hurt, that's a big issue. But we'll finally get to see the Eagles tested by a pretty good pass rush. I don't know. I made a case for the Cowboys defense being slightly overrated.
I think that's true.
That's not saying like they're bad. I'm not saying it's a bad defense.
Mm-mm.
But like they didn't do anything to stop the Buccaneers. Honestly, the Buccaneers could have put up 30 that day. They didn't have to. The Bengals game was just a dream matchup. Like, if you have outside pass rushers that can get home, you're going to stop the Bengals. The Giants were not kind of coming into their own yet in that game. The Commanders, everybody should beat them, especially if you have a good pass rush. And the Rams, the current iteration of the Rams with the offensive line injuries and the way that offense is playing, like that, again, you held those two teams to 10 points the last 2 weeks, but it's not the Eagles. Yeah. It's not Chiefs, Bills, Eagles, Ravens. It's not like a high-end team. So this is it's a very good defense, but it's maybe not as good as some of these results have made out to be.
The common thread of all the teams that the Cowboys have played to this point is that they were playing offensive lines who are extremely injured and or just outright bad. Rams, Commanders, Giants all had keyholes. Bengals has keyholes. Buccaneers were down to the third string center and guard. Like they've gotten the beneficiary of playing some really poor O-lines. And so that's accentuating how good their D-line has been. Now they're going up against the best in the Eagles. And that's going to be a tough task. I think the Eagles ultimately win this one wire to wire. And I'm not worried about them in comeback mode. I'm not worried about the pressure. I'm not like running to the window to lay 6. I don't think that's a super price. But the Eagles D-line getting after Cooper Rush and the Cowboys O-line finally being a little bit of an issue in this game seems realistic to me. Cowboys still lean on Zeke too much. Cowboys still haven't fully integrated their passing weapons into the offense perfectly. Kellen Moore is not, coordinating the world's best offense here. Rush has limitations. I think the Eagles are far, far better team in this one, and that's why they're 6-point favorites. But ultimately, I think they get the win in the cover.
Yeah, I would tend to lead the Eagles, and this is one of those where we're
Eagles
getting
team total over.
We're getting the preseason treatment on the Eagles' first half, where it's -6, but it's -3, -119. You're paying extra for that first half 3. I kind of like that first half 3, but if I can find a little more reasonable number, I'd be happy.
Eagles over 24.5 team total is a good look.
They stayed under their team total last week. They keep doing this where they come out hot and then they don't get the last touchdown. Like they're always like one touchdown under their team total or one score away every week.
Okay. This is
I don't know. I think this is a good spot for it because it is a little lower. Kellen, a couple people have asked if we're going to do an NBA pod. I don't know if we have fucking time. Drew's on vacation. NBA starts Tuesday. I don't know. What do you do? Like, do you want to? We did
one during the halftime of the Colts Broncos game. You remember that? Yeah. If you go back and watch the Colts Broncos halftime show, we did a good 15 minutes on NBA. It was good, I thought. I would just say the same stuff.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, I was gonna say we'll do some. Me and Noops will do some stuff on Brown Bag Monday.
Yeah, you know what? Also like, there's the NBA season is nice and long, and I've only taken long shot stuff in the futures market so far. So, a lot of games left.
Yeah, we'll get to. We'll get to some of this stuff throughout the season. It is one of those things. All my best NBA bets are placed like during the year. It seems
always.
I've a thing I've really enjoyed, not only in the NBA but other sports too, is just like these mid-season win totals when you can really kind of make a case for some of these teams with the schedule they have remaining. Oh,
yeah, so, I agree with that.
And we did have, I forgot, I had a listener question in the DMs over at Deep Dive Pod on Twitter. He was asking about back to Arizona, Seattle. And, he said like the fact that this number was sitting at this. And I mean, we kind of basically already touched on this a little bit as far as where the number is. And I said, it's just like they haven't adjusted. He was using 3 for a home field. He said, because this is in Seattle, so
because it's Lumen, because it's at Lumen.
Well, and even that, he said, would it be a, you go to a big number to, flip the home field here. Flip the home field. Put this in Arizona. Use the same number, and let's give.
Yeah, I think it just goes across 3. I think on a neutral, Arizona is a flat 3-point favorite. In Lumen, it's 2.5. In Arizona, it'd be 3.5.
Yeah, because and that was his question. He was using 3 for a number, which is that kind of used to be the standard. He said, so like on a neutral, is this Arizona by 6? Because at that point it was a -3. And he's like, in Arizona, is this Arizona -9 at Arizona? And no, like right now, the way home field is, really, unless you really have a good home field advantage, you shouldn't be nobody's getting 3 anymore. It's closer to 1.8, I believe, was the calculated number for kind of the last couple of years. And the thing is, too, like when you're moving 1.8, let's say we take it from Seattle and put it on a neutral, and it was a 4, -4. I'm fine moving it to -5.5, -6 because it's -4. But the fact that it's 2.5 and that first step is across the 3, you probably don't.
That wipes it all out.
It costs a lot more, and it's a bigger jump in win probability. So, like, once you go to a neutral, you can't move it. Let's just round it to 2. You're not moving a full 2 points because that first point is across 3, and that kind of steals a lot of the win probability. So when you're like Drew said, when you move to a neutral, you're probably only moving this a point because it has to go to 3.5, and that's such an important jump. And then when you get to Arizona, maybe in Arizona, maybe this is 4.5, maybe 4.5 or 5. So that said, I think the point still stands that Seattle's not getting enough respect in the market, but.
Okay, so here
it's weird. It's weird. When people do that math and say, if this were on a neutral, I'm going to move it this many points. You can't always just move it that static amount of points. If it's sitting at 6.5, 7.5, 3.5, 2.5, and you have to cross something. And the same thing goes too is, if you're crossing 0, sometimes you can move it from a 2 to a 2. Or a lot of those points don't matter. The win probability surrounding 0 and 1 is so low where sometimes it's a 3-point move, honestly.
So the way you really want to know, if you want to know, and I haven't provided very little value on this podcast, so apologies to listeners, but here you want to know what it would be.
This is why I brought this up. So we can do this.
So the Cardinals, the penny money line on Cardinals right now is -136. Seattle is +122. If you basically say Vig Free, then the money line ought to be -129 +129. That is telling you that the Cardinals have a 56% chance to win this game on the road. If you add 8% to that for neutral and 8% to that for home,
being at home,
so 56 plus 16 is 72%. They would have a 72% chance to win on the road, and then that ultimately would be a 1.388 money line, which is what in decimal?
Oh, like -248. No, I'm not even close.
It's like honestly. It's like -257-ish. So that's about the Eagles price. So they would be in the ballpark of a -5.5, -6. Yeah, if they flipped. So you'd get a cumulative 3.5 points from flipping.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a better way to explain it. I mean, going across the 3 just eats up so much of that win probability that it's like, you're trucking and that just slows you down.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
When you do it more of we need to add 8% or subtract 8% and then add more 8% for the move to Phoenix. And that's how you get that 72. Yeah. So that was a good explanation. You did add value today.
All right. Chargers, Broncos. Did you have any read on that?
And I think you answered this question. 1.8 translates to roughly 8%.
Yeah, 8%. Yep. That's right. Chargers, Broncos. You got to read under.
The Broncos have been the best defense in the league in the red zone by a considerable margin, honestly.
Their best offensive defense in the red zone as well. They cannot score themselves.
No, that's what I was about to say. They are the they are first and 32nd. They are the best defense in the red zone. They are the worst offense in the red zone. Like, why are we not just taking Broncos team total unders every week?
I like it. All right, good deal.
Well, Justin Simmons back, and that Justin Simmons further makes this an under game.
Yeah, that looks. I love everything about it. We'll cover that more on Sunday.
All right.
All right, man.
You guys,
good stuff.
Again, hit the thumbs up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the laughs. Thanks for the love. And you know what? We'll see you guys tomorrow night. What are you gonna get up to tonight up there in Oregon?
I need to do a little hangover recovery.
I know someone had. Well, it wasn't a hangover. He just got a